Welcome to the One Concept podcast. My name is Scott Darnell, and I'm so pleased to be joined by a longtime friend and colleague, Paul Kelly. Paul's joining us today from Knoxville, Tennessee, from Human Performance. Paul's also the creator of Physiokinetics. He is a therapist, a husband, a father, a mentor, a writer, an educator. I could keep going down the list. Welcome to the One Concept podcast, Paul.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate you having me here.
Oh, it's my pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm going to science lab when I hear you we have a chance to speak. And, a lot of the stuff, we're going to go into what you do, but, this is a
Yeah.
lot of therapists because, you do a lot of movement work with your clients. And a lot of therapists are like, well, in my area, I can't do exercise, but you can do movement on the table. This is why you
Mm-hmm.
should listen closely because there's a lot of stuff that you're going to go over and
Mm-hmm.
talk about that they can use in their everyday practice to just put their results with their clients over the top. So, Paul, tell us
Yeah.
about Temple Human Performance.
Okay, so Temple Human Performance is my office. It was a human performance center, the first one in Knoxville, Tennessee. And it's about 30 years old now. But when I started this whole thing, there was no such thing as human performance work. I was coming out of college, exercise science major, and then I went into athletic training here, which is catastrophic injury kind of rehab. And then I went to get a manual therapy license. And then I had studied with a gentleman named Eric Dalton, who we both know, and taught for him for many years. And he was teaching an osteopathic form. And in my practice, I started this thing called treatment and training. And so what we were doing is I was pioneering how manual therapists could take somebody on the table and either train them on the table or actually take them off their table and train them in their gym if they were doing a dual licensure, or kind of like a PT would do or a physiotherapist would do. So I was kind of pioneering this brand new treatment protocol, and I was experimenting with it from all the stuff that I was learning. I don't know if you lost me there. I was experimenting with it with all the stuff that I had learned with my past experiences with Eric and schooling and all the mentors that I had. And then I studied neuroscience, which was new. It came out, about 10 years ago now, about 2018-ish, 2016-ish, neuroscience started getting more popular. And that kind of opened up a whole new mindset for me to put in what I call table neurotraining. And table neurotraining now was developed because we wanted to affect the brain out. And so we realized that it wasn't really, we were working muscles and joints in to the brain. And then we realized, with neuroscience inputs, that we needed to work brain out on the table. What did the brain want? Why was there weakness in the body? Why? What was the signal that the brain was missing? And could we put that signal back in and strengthen the body on the table and then get them up into standing and memorize it, And that's what I started to develop, and that's where Physiokinetics came from. And so basically taking that person that is neurologically not stable, that's why they hurt, but not making them loose on the table. That's a different concept. I was trained to loosen everything. I mean, every therapist was trained to loosen the fascia, to loosen the joint capsule, to loosen everything in the body. And even when I was doing Eric's work, to loosen everything. We would do the neck, we'd loosen everything, right? Well, what about stability? What about stability? The reasoning behind mobility was that the body was stable. And so it was a reverse concept that I had learned. And this was all through going through trials myself with stretching, because I was a big stretcher, super hypermobile person. So I stretched a lot, and I realized after I'd stretch a lot, I'd go to these yoga classes, I'd stretch for a while, go to hot yoga, feel really awesome when I left, but within, like you said, 30 minutes, bam, tight again. What the heck's going on here? What was this problem? So I had to learn for myself that it wasn't being mobile that I needed so much. It was being stronger and being actually more thoughtful on my movement protocols in my workouts. And so what I did is I developed eccentric, concentric, isometric loads, which are principles that we teach, basic principles on the therapy table and then off the therapy table to improve neurologic learning and mobility in the joints. You see how that would work together? Because when we take the body through a Stressful event. It has to be stressful for it to be important. Otherwise, your hippocampus could care less. You're not going to ingrain these long-term memories. You talk about traumas. Why are they there? They were stressful, right? So when we train people intently now, or when I'm working with elderly people, everything is fear-based. Everything in our life, fear-based. Well, the last time I came, I hurt my knee, and so I don't want to do that again. It's fear. Everything's fear-based. Well, guess what? That's the first component that we need to have in a client to change them. That's good. We want fear. Why? Trauma. So in working with a traumatized person, which everybody's got their own form of trauma, we add load. And so when we add load to that system with trauma, it also has to make them refocus and concentrate on something different because there's a load involved. Now they got to focus. So the intent goes to here. The hippocampus picks that up, right? It's changing a mindset, which is so hard to get to. You can't hardly change people unless you get into that hippocampus. How do you best do it? Fear. So we have that. Then we add loads. That's even scarier, right? Because I have people come in, and I show this in my videos, and I showed this in some of your conferences in the past with my brother, who has a hip replacement and a knee replacement, and had trauma to the whole side, was run over by a tractor.
Wow.
And so he does not load that whole side of his body from not only fear, but also the pain that is in it. So there we go again, pain, fear, atrophy, weakness on one side of his body, right? So that's a trauma. And guess what? He's not getting better. He's been to, every doctor. They've got him addicted to Oxycontin in the past. Now he's recovering from that. You see where I'm going here. But then when I got him, I said, you know what? The biggest missing link here is load. You don't load the side. And we know now with all this research from load and regenerative therapies and tissue regeneration that if you don't load it, it doesn't regrow. If you don't load it, the brain doesn't get the serotogenic pathways alive. You don't get the dopamine down that side of the body. You don't get the tonic reflex gone. You get where I'm going? All these things are not happening because of fear. And so now we can take a person on a table, knowing these concepts, and add load and take away fear and change a mindset, and the person will get up and they'll be like, what happened here?
That's amazing. So when they're on the table, how do you add load when they're on the table?
So I created a resistance band training system. It's called the PKT training system. And I have different loaded bands. So I use really light bands, which are neuro bands, I call them, because neurologic training is actually adding a load. So when you put load, it is a learning tool, okay? Because then you give them an elastic band and you take it. I have one here. I'll have someone bring me one in a minute. But it's just a real light load, but then it makes me have to focus, right? So I put that in the hands, and then I give them an instruction on something to do, okay? It could be for shoulder stabilization. The arm could be out, and then the load is put on the hand, and I say, okay, keep it still as I move around. And so I move around them, and the whole time they're feeling a load come into the arm, and they don't know where it's going to come from, so they have to concentrate. At that moment of concentration, it's starting to hit right here, right? We're starting to ingrain memories, new memories of stability to the shoulder. This is a shoulder that couldn't go over their head, right? Or a frozen shoulder, or a really painful rotator cuff. And so as we added all those resisted movements, and then I would take them into an eccentric loaded overhead move where I would take the bands in their hands. I show this in some of the videos where they hold the band and I'm above the table. And then I pull them as they resist over their head, as they resist. So that's eccentric load. And as we know from all the neuromuscular research that if you want to lengthen a tissue, we actually have to load it eccentrically and then lengthen it at the same time. The eccentric part is so crucial for learning. And that's the biggest problem that we've made a mistake with in manual therapy is we've gone fascia in, which is not a problem because there is a relaxation from mechanoreceptors. I get all that, but there's not a lot of learning. That's where we're missing. We're not learning. The body didn't learn that. It just relaxed and allowed us to come in, but it didn't learn that that was okay. As soon as the person came back onto their feet, they're unstable again. We have this thing
This is
called
really
what?
brain-based therapy that you're doing, right?
Sure, it is
Trying
a
to
brain
retrain
based.
that fear, that pain. You're trying to retrain that input to the brain. And people sometimes get upset when you say stuff like that, but it is in our head. And that's a great thing because clients, once you explain that to them, you can understand that they have some control over the outcome of getting better. So that empowers them. I could see how this really helps them move along through the rehab process.
Yeah, the whole thing that we're learning now, if you look at all current evidence-based stuff, is what? Empowering the client. Empower your client. Take it away from us, give them the power. So this really does that. I mean, it enables them to, okay, here's your band, you go home with it. You did it here. Now you know you can do it, so you can recreate this. And so we always say this one thing, we always say it has to be what? Has to be easy to do, right? It has to be easy for them to do. It has to be time sensitive, right? And it has to be something that they can see immediate improvement in. If they don't get those three things out of it, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. So you give them something just simple. You know, maybe it's like pushing a wall. That's a good one for me. I like to push. So like for my brother, his right leg, he wasn't using it. So I said, you know what, I want you, plus he was bloated, right? He's bloated because why? He's not moving. He's bent over, you know, pills he'd been taking, his core had shut off. Number one's core, right? We got to get core support under people or the legs don't work. So I said, you know what, let's push a wall every day. I want you to push a wall 4 times a day with your right leg back. Push with your right leg. He's like, where do I got to push my right leg? Push with your right leg, arms locked out, and push with your, and guess what? From that thing, I made him do it just, 10 times in a row for 5 seconds. And he was like, wow, my leg feels a little better.
Yes.
See, he got immediate. See the immediate part there? If you don't get him with the immediate, because then the dopamine didn't come in, right? That immediate thing is, I got a little dopamine. I hadn't had that before. Maybe it's not about the pain, right? Because I just pushed a wall and my leg feels better. So maybe my knee's not really hurt. You see what I'm saying? So you give them that window of opportunity to see a change real quick. It doesn't mean it fixed it, right? Because that's long term, but they saw that they could do it. And then the system I've created comes in, the home studies or the home self-care manuals that come with it. I give it to them. This is something I want to work with you through, but you're doing it, right? You're doing it. Your hands in the ball's in your court. So it's really, it's enabling, but yet assisted. And what I end up having is a better practice because I'm not seeing the same person all the time. I actually get rid of people. Some people don't like that, right? But when I say get rid of, I don't get rid of them, but I give them 3 months. I give them 3 months with me. I give them a time frame. People like time. They always, don't they ask you that? How long is it going to take?
Absolutely.
How long is this shoulder going to take before you can get it better? Because this is expensive. I get that, But, and you know what I tell them? I said, I can't tell you that answer, but what I can tell you is if you do this program, within about 2 weeks, you'll feel a lot better.
You feel better.
Yeah, immediately, really. And then actually, you know what, that's not overstating because they're going to feel better when? Immediately.
Almost immediately.
Immediately.
So Paul, talk about the whole concept of our body's ability, this neuroplasticity, that our body, no matter how old we are, still has the ability to learn things and heal itself and strengthen itself. We're looking at all these studies that are coming out about seniors doing weight training and and still putting lean muscle mass on at like 80 years old.
Yeah.
So, some people, they come in, and I know a lot of people, they come to you, Paul, because you are excellent. You're an expert. And they've been to a bunch of different places and they've seen no success. And you can understand as a therapist that how deflating that is for a person. So I think it's for you. I know what you are. You're a high energy, excited guy. So you're right off the bat. It's like, hey, our goal here is to make you feel better almost immediately. We want you to move better. And we're working on this timeline. So listen, you have this much time with me, and this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to accomplish. I can see how that's a successful model for you and can be successful for all the people that you've taught. I just absolutely love it.
And so we did a certification program too out there. And so there's other therapists that are doing the journey with us, which is really cool. So we started this, really it's a 3-level program, but right now we're on the 2nd level, mobility, stability. And we teach this on the table and off the table, and I teach them how to use the band systems. So everyone really gets a chance to see hands-on with me how this really happens. And I bring in live people, which is really important. I bring in real clients that I've corrected, real people that have stories with me and had failure stories before me. They failed. Like you were talking about, these people that come in, they failed in all these other places. Why is this going to work? What makes this any better? Well, number one, the first thing we know you have to create is a mindset change. So that person's already coming in with a failure mindset. How can I change that mindset? One, like I said, I have to show them some proof. I got to show them some proof in the pudding. Does this really work? Number one, I got to be the part. Don't you? You got to be the part. Does that put pressure on me to be the part, to be the guy that's always in shape, the one that's always bubbly? A little bit. But you know what? If I'm a helper and that's who I am a true caretaker. This is my profession. I believe God's given me the gift for this, okay? If I'm doing what I feel like I should be doing in life, I'm passionate about it, by God, I'm living it. I'm living it, right? I'm taking care of myself too. I'm doing the things that I tell them to do. Guess what? I'm doing them. And guess what? I can tell them through my experience because I'm doing them. Plus, I've seen 1,000 other people that I've put it through get better. And so that's what I give them. I give them that confidence that they can get better if they put the effort in. Now, here's the word, effort. You have to do something. We've disabled people with massage therapy. I hate to say it. We've talked to them on the tables and loosened them up for years. Now, that's great, and it serves a psychological purpose and a lymphatic purpose. But what about the people that we're missing out on that could really be the wheelchair people that don't have to be in a wheelchair? There's people that I get out of wheelchairs. There's people I get off the walkers. We have to think about those elderly people, like you were saying. Absolutely. You know what the new standard is 1 minute of intensity for an elderly person equals 4 minutes of moderate exercise. Do you hear that? So these older people do 8 minutes of intense exercise. It equals a whole 30-minute workout. And that's what I push. I push it. And what does that mean? Out of breath. Go as hard as you can. Lift as heavy as you can without pain. Okay? And so it's not a long workout for these older people that I get in here. I've got 90-year-olds. I've got like 6 of them right now. I got a 96er, a 94, a 92, a 90-year-old. Even had a 104 a few years ago. She passed away. Yeah, but the thing is that we're seeing these older people, and I've got a ton of them in the 80s and 70s. Yes. So they go hard. But how long? 30 minutes. 30 minutes, but they go hard, right? So that's the key. The key is at older ages, you push harder, but for shorter periods of time, and you get the rescue response, right?
So you were talking earlier, using your brother as an example. You know, there's no doubt that medical science is incredible, what they're doing in all different pieces of science with meds and different things. But we're also seeing the people that they're coming seeking us because they can no longer take those meds anymore. And even like talking acetaminophen and ibuprofen, that they've taken so many of that it's had an effect on their liver or their stomach. And I have numerous clients that are in that situation. So they've kind of come to us as like the last course resort because the meds that they were taking, you know, they really can't take them the same amount as they did before. Let's get it straight. Like every once in a while you get a headache or you're not feeling good. You take a Tylenol. It works phenomenally.
It does, yeah.
But it's not meant to be taken consistently every day in large amounts, right? So
what's it treating? It's treating inflammation or cytokines or inflammatory proteins, right? So what does that tell us?
Yeah, we're inflamed. You're right too. It's like you talk about digestion and stuff. Like people's, you'll see the inflammation. You'll see that they're definitely having digestive issues. And this is all about them not getting up and moving. And I always laugh because you'll see these so-called experts online and they say, well, walking's not exercise. Walking's the greatest exercise in the world. Just getting outside and moving around is a great thing. And especially with my people that don't move too much, I try to get them walking. And it's a week or two later, they come back in and they say, I'm feeling better. And I said, what have you been doing? Well, I've been out walking every day. And just walking, and all their bodily functions are working better. Like all the things, they're sleeping better, they're feeling better.
Yeah, it's rhythm. Yeah, you have to put it into the body. It dies without movement. We know this. We know that you don't age well when you don't move. And we know that it kills all case mortality, morbidity risk by like 65 to 70%. So, I mean, you're killing all things like cancer, heart disease, stroke. I mean, all these things we talk about, dementia, all balance discrepancies, bone mineral density, tendon weakness. I mean, and the number one thing, if we look at studies, is adipokines are the number one inflammatory protein in people that kill them because they do what? They create systemic inflammation. They eat the cartilage off the joints. They cause premature arthritis. They cause endothelial problems in the bloodstream, right, into the veins. And then we have what? Strokes. We have all these things. And so what's the number one thing we're doing? Cardiovascular exercise first. That's number one, walking, right? Get cardio every single day if you could get cardio. How many minutes? 8. 8 what? Out of breath. Okay, that could be done interval, 1 minute easy, 1 minute harder, however you get it, you get 8, right? And they say 4 minutes sustained. If you can get 4 minutes of that sustained, that's really, really good. So 4 minutes, that's really hard. Go try it today. What does that mean? You can't talk, right? You're huffing and puffing. You don't always have to be taking your heart rate all the time. Yeah. But if you're huffing and puffing, we want this, right? And no one likes to do that. I don't really care to do it, but I make myself do it. It's not fun. I do it at 5:30 in the morning, every morning almost. And gosh, I feel so good when I get done.
I always laugh because occasionally I'll get people who say, I don't like to sweat.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, right? That's why they need a trainer or somebody with them like you beside them and pushing it, because you know what? That's accountability. Yeah. And that's why we work as therapists, because we hold accountability to our clients.
Like I had coaches. It's good. It's like
I need a coach.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's funny in my life meeting different people from different professions, different business people. They all had mentors and coaches. The ones that I've seen that have risen to the highest level still have those mentors and coaches, and still believe that they need to be coached. They still need to, learn new things and develop new things and have people critique what they're doing. It just, if you, in your mind, I always think that if you're a therapist and you're doing the same thing, you're doing the same routine on a person are you even like listening to them or paying attention to them? Or whatever.
You can get stuck there.
Yeah, you can get very stuck there.
Get stuck there. Yeah.
And I think it's tough on the therapist too, because if you're doing the same thing every day, you're probably getting the same results. And
true.
That's why I always encourage people to come out to conferences, go to continuing education, because one, it's phenomenal to interact with other therapists, like-minded people, right? And see what they're doing and learn new techniques and try them and have someone do them on you. It's like, like
I learn from other people all the time. I'm still learning things. It's amazing. Last week I picked up a new technique from just a local person. You just got to put yourself in those places, like you said. Go to the conferences. Absolutely. And go get into a class that you've not thought about taking before. Maybe, and here's what people do is they have fear to change a mindset in what they're doing. Oh, this has always worked for me. I was like that a little bit at first. I've always done this, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to lock down. Well, guess what? That was totally wrong, because when I started going into these other areas like pain science and neuroscience, and then back to kinesiology and back to exercise science, all of a sudden it all went together. But it wasn't because I stayed over here in this left lane. It was because I explored a plethora that brought me to the whole.
Like even this, look at something as simple as trigger points. Trigger points, this and that or whatever. I remember when we were I was in school over 30 years ago. It's like when you got on a big trigger point, we used to say you camp out on that trigger point.
Yeah, you stay there.
Just be on there until that person gave up or that
I'm done. Gave up. Well, that was that's all we knew. It was so damn painful too, right? The IT band was another one, right? Going up, taking the blade of the arm up the IT band. I had Eric Dalton do that to me, and this is what we knew. And I'm like sitting on the table. He loved it. You're like, and now we're like, nothing should cause any pain.
It should not.
Anything, everything that I do on the table, there's no pain in it.
I think Eric always said it really well, like at the end. He always say that.
Yeah.
when you're assessing somebody or you're first kind of treating an area, just testing it, there may be some discomfort because you're trying
Maybe,
to
yeah.
know what that person's limits are. That's one
Hmm.
type of discomfort or pain. But actually creating pain with a client, this goes against common sense. Because
It
one of the
does.
biggest things that we can do as a therapist is put that person into a position where they're relaxed or they're comfortable or they feel safe with you as
Yeah.
the therapist,
I
right?
still think that's the mixed message with massage therapists still is
Yeah.
that they think they have to create pain for the client to feel better.
Oh,
And that's
we get into that
wrong. Yeah.
conversation. We've had that conversation before.
Yeah.
I had it with Aubrey Gowing the other day. We were talking about depth when people tell you to go deep. Well, there's multiple different ways of creating pressure, you know,
Hmm.
speed,
Yeah.
angle, all those different things. And
Hmm.
it's so important to educate your client about that, right? It's like really you're even though you're feeling this, your brain really can't tell the difference from me just touching your skin to like digging right into it. We don't
Right.
know. And it's funny. It's like, most therapists, we really talk about it's like we've never really massaged the muscle. We're massaging the tissue outside the muscle. We're massaging
Right.
the skin. We're
Through
working,
the tissue.
stretching. We're
Yeah.
trying, it's our
Yeah.
intention to work that muscle, the tendon, that
And that's where I got the whole idea is that what we needed to create on the table is actually the lengthening through eccentric loads, using principles, using pressures, and then taking them through range of motion on the table themselves, and then coming in and feeling the tissues and seeing the change. The other day I just did this with a guy. This is really cool. And I love to do this with my clients because it just is those aha moments in their head. They finally get it. It's like I'm just trying to get this guy to stand up straight, and he looks like this, right? He's locked in. His SCMs are locked in here. His suboccipitals are locked in. His traps are up, like this. And I'm like, and these are super tight, right? And so he's laying face down on my table, and I go, okay, we're going to do a 10-second protocol here. And I said, I squeezed his traps. I go, those things sore. Oh man, these are so sore. Oh my gosh. I go, okay. What we're going to do is we're going to strengthen your back for 10 minutes or 10 seconds here. Just put your hands behind your head. I just had him put his hands behind his head. I put my hands on his elbows. I said, push up against me and push your head up. And you just did an isometric, okay? Within 10 seconds, we did that and had him relax. And I just put my hands on all those muscles, and all of them were soft, okay? All of them. And he goes, are you still squeezing those the same? I go, yeah. He goes, none of them hurt anymore. He goes, come on, man. How does that happen? What's going on here? They get really confused, right? I said, that's neurologic weakness. Pain comes from weakness. Okay. Let me tell you right now, even in soft tissues, sensitivities come from weakness, not from loosening. Okay. Not from putting my hands and touching it even, but from neurologic weakness. I didn't even touch the tissue. You see what I'm getting at? When you put stability back into an area, you lose pain, period. So we got to get that mindset correct in therapy. And I think that's my goal as a therapist now is spreading that good news that, hey, listen, that's a good news for us because now we have longevity in our hands more too. We're
Yes.
not going to be digging and doing all this thumb work and this stuff that we don't need to be even doing. We can get away from that and get bigger results with less from us. You know what I mean?
And it's interesting too, because now we're dealing with so many more people that are working remotely or working from home, and they never bother to get themselves a decent chair for home, and they're sitting all day dealing with
Yeah.
us. The great thing about being a therapist, if you're dealing with stress, you have stress during the day, it's great because you're up and moving and treating clients and communicate. You're sitting in front of a computer all day. I can understand how people just like stress level goes up. Your body just doesn't feel well because you're dealing with that stress and you're sitting.
Mm-hmm.
And some
Yeah.
people say, well, I have a standing desk. I said, well, any type of position is probably good, but it still doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. You're standing there, right?
Yeah.
And you're still dealing with stress. So, like, yeah, changing your
Mm-hmm.
position. I'm kind of a big believer in that. I've been working, I work with a lot of people that kind of work in funny positions, whether they're working on an
Mm-hmm.
electron microscope all day. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big believer in just if you can just change your position every 30 minutes, you don't have to
Yeah.
stretch, you don't have to do anything. Just change your position, kind of just. give your brain that recognition again that this is the right position that I want to be in. I don't want to be in this position.
Sure.
And this basic things like that with clients, they'll come back and like, oh my goodness. Everybody wears an iWatch right now. And a lot of my people
I
are
know. Yeah.
sitting or doing stuff. I say, just put your thing on to beep every 30 minutes.
It's
And
great.
you
Yeah.
can just change our bodies are so sophisticated. Our brain,
Mm-hmm.
everything is so integrated. We always want to separate this from our body. And it's like one continuous thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I just try and remind people of that, we're so blessed. I said, don't forget, when you cut yourself, you don't need a doctor. You don't need you break a bone. You don't, it's like your
It
bone
heals.
heals. You
That's right.
heal. We're
People don't know they
facilitating.
heal.
Yep.
People don't know they heal now. But now
Yeah, exactly.
hopefully AI, they can ask AI now. It'll help. Maybe they'll believe us, right? It was funny the other day. I had AI question here. I had someone come in who had asked AI what was wrong with them, right? And he came to me to see if I was right. You know what I mean? Like he was testing me against AI. And guess what? AI was wrong. So you got to be careful with AI because when I looked at him, he was looking at AI and asked it a question about his neck.
Yes.
His atlas was rotated posteriorly on the right, and he was having neck pain on the right. Well, if you look at the normal spinal biomechanics and you ask Grok, if you side bend the head this way, which way does the atlas rotate? Does it go forward or does it go posterior? Well, it would tell you that it goes forward. Okay, it tells you that the atlas goes forward. Well, I was telling him it was posterior. He's like, well, that's not right. My head's side bent over here, and because he had spasm, right? I said, well, you're not in neutral mechanics. He goes, what was that? I go, exactly. You don't know. You can't ask AI a question about anatomy because it's in neutral mechanics. You're in flexion, dude. So when you're in flexion, you're side bending this way first in the cervicals. Your OA is adjusting for that. So it's in a non-neutral position. Then it's adjusting to come to neutral. Well, that's totally opposite mechanics of natural just that. You get what I'm saying? If you just did that, yeah, your head would go like this. But when you're already side bent this way, then your head's coming back around. Your
Body's
atlas goes post.
adjusting. Your body's made adjustment.
Your atlas went posterior. So the hands don't lie. You know what I mean? I touch them, boom, you're posterior, sit down, boom, you're posterior. Okay, and then we do all my assessment. It points straight to it, and Grok was wrong, So you have to be careful because people are going to be coming in with AI.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you, it's pretty good, and it's going to get even better.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it doesn't consider all these things that we should know. We should know. That
I
body
think,
doesn't come in
I think what the other
anatomical.
part about it is that, we were at a show recently where they had these robots doing massage, but you have to actually put this like uniform on and then lie on the table and the robot does it. But the the robot will never be able to detect your feeling back to it. There's no
Mm-mm,
connection between those two human beings. Only a
mm-mm,
human being and a human being are going to have that connection. And you know what I'm talking about. When you're working on a client, you can feel what's going
mm.
on with that client. You can
That's
feel the
DNA.
resistance. Absolutely. And
It's DNA,
there's
man.
a
Yeah.
rhythm there between people that cannot be recreated between
No,
robots or computers. So I still
no.
think that we have a what ways to go. And the other big thing is that, how many of your older clients, like your senior clients, you're probably the only person that touches them.
Yeah.
When you think
Yeah,
about
right.
they're deprived of human touch and they're getting
Hmm.
caring human touch from you. And what is that worth? That to me, it's
And
invaluable.
some good conversation,
And good
right?
conversation because they got
Yeah,
stories. And you know what? Most of
yeah,
my older clients are great. They bring treats too. So
yeah, yeah.
that's
They
it.
look forward to that
They
stuff, man. It
do.
keeps them going, man. I tell you, I love the older people, and the older I get, the more I want to service those people because I'm going that way, and I
Yeah,
want
and
someone that
I just love them
services me
because
like that. Yeah.
it's like they're tough as nails. They've been through stuff. You older clients,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
grew up before a lot of things existed, a lot of the luxuries that we enjoy today. They didn't have any of those luxuries, and it's just to me, it's an honor and pleasure to be able to treat those clients and care for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, hey, I'm going to tell everybody where I'm going to be this year if you don't mind.
Yeah, please
I'd
go
love to
ahead.
people to,
That was my,
yeah.
that's what we're going to get into there.
We're having a great old time having just good talks about practice. But that's what it is when you get into practice, and you're an experienced practitioner like I am. I'm teaching all over, and I'm still having full-time practice, and I'm still doing all this. So that really tells you that I enjoy this. I mean, if I could do this for a long time, I would. I want to keep doing it. But this year we're going to be out teaching. I got one coming up here in Tampa, so it's the end of the month, 28th, 29th, 30th in Tampa. And then if you go to Temple HP or physiokinetics.com, I've got the whole lineup on there. And then I think from there I'm going to Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
And I don't even have my schedule sitting in front of me here. But gosh, I'm all over Rhode Island this year. I'm going to
Rhode
be
Island.
in,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm been in Rhode Island this year. I'm going to be back up in Seattle, in Olympia. Sherry Aldrich is hosting me again over in that area. That's in the fall. This October or this May we've got a really cool retreat that we're doing in Knoxville at the lake. So we have a very cool lake retreat that we're going to be doing. It's going to be a 3-day head, neck, and face and jaw, which is really cool new stuff that we're teaching the dentistry community, and getting into the oral facial community with working with endodontists, periodontists, oral surgeons, people that work with cervical stuff. We're starting to get our communities into that work, which is really powerful. Where else are we going? We're going to be here again in the fall. We do a hiking retreat in the fall. So if you've never been to Tennessee,
Well, let's
come out
tell
here in the
people
fall.
more about
Yeah,
Knoxville and Tennessee. Like
yeah,
you are in a
yeah.
premium place in Tennessee. Tell us more about
Yeah, I know you Canadians up there love mountain biking. If you like mountain biking and outdoor life and rivers and kayaking and anything outdoor, we have it. We are the number one location for any outdoor sports. So we have over, I think, 1,000 miles of professional grade mountain bike trails everywhere. We have parks, we have fishing, we have more fresh water than any state. We also have the Smoky Mountains here, which are beautiful. And so if you like that kind of thing, you like trout fishing or fly fishing or
it. Oh, you have
just
Dollywood
anything.
there too?
We have Dollywood here. We have country music. Yeah, if you want to go to Dollywood, you can go to Dollywood. We're locals. We don't go there, but if you want, if you want to go to Dollywood, it's there for you. And we have what we call the Knox Vegas, which is Sevierville, Gatlinburg area, Pigeon Forge. So it's the most visited place actually in the country. You wouldn't think it, but there's a lot going on here. So we do host one big seminar here every year in
You
October,
have
and
that
it's
little
always a lot
place
of fun.
called Nashville down the road from you too, right?
Nashville, yeah, turned the new LA, we call it. So
Yeah.
now all the new movies going on over here. Matter of fact, I've done 4 different movies, worked on 4 different movie
Really?
sets. Yeah, so and worked on Burt Reynolds right before he passed away.
God
So
bless.
got to do
Love Burt
that.
Reynolds.
Loved him too, man. Spent a lot of good time with him. Got some cool stories.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, a lot going on this year. But like I said, just check out Physiokinetics. That's TIX for everybody. .com and yeah, check it out. We have like I said, training equipment, band systems, self-care programs. I've got a lot of videos. If you're a therapist out there and you want to just go ahead and get some online CE, I've got a lot of online CE classes. Some of which I did one for the World Massage. It's on there.
And you did one for us for
Yep, 2
actually
of them
Canadian
for you.
massage conference
Canadian.
during COVID when we were online and that. And
Yeah,
so yeah,
did that one.
we have the Canadian Massage Conference coming up. We have a couple locations this year. We have one in just outside of Toronto in May, and then we're going to be in Calgary. I don't know if you've ever been to Calgary. Calgary's a beautiful city,
Love to
absolutely
go there.
gorgeous
Yeah,
place to visit. We're going to be there in September, and then
awesome.
of course, 2027 May, we're going to be in Orlando, Florida again. And I'm hoping to have you there at that conference, my friend. I'm hoping
Okay,
to have you
yeah,
there as one
man.
of our instructors because
I'd love to.
I
Yeah,
just want to share your knowledge with therapists. They can come in and just geek out in your class and learn all this stuff and just have so much fun
yeah,
working with other therapists and taking it back to their clinic. So it's
yeah.
just great stuff. Very, very
I
powerful.
appreciate it. Well, I hope to be there with you, Scott. So, and I always appreciate you spreading the good news and telling people about people. So,
Well, listen,
yeah.
thank you again, Paul. Thanks for taking time to do this. And I want to thank everybody for joining us on the One Concept podcast. Thanks again, Paul. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. Appreciate it.